Team, this is Echo Team. Level 1 is clear. Copy that, Echo. Proceed with caution. 10-4. Alpha Team, this is Echo Team. 7-5 subject, 1096, and seems to be eating another person. 2-6. Copy Echo Team, 10-0. Keep an eye out on your 6. Where there's one, there's more. Delta Team, 2-3 backup requested with full riot gear. Situation is 1034. Copy that, Delta Team. 7-7 is about 5 minutes. Team, this is Bravo Team 7-6. ETA is 3 minutes. Copy that, Bravo Team.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for dropping back by my channel. Today I'm going to be editing a couple photos I took during 4th of July. We had a little bit of a bonfire and I took some photos of some wood that we had burning with the Canon 90D. I probably took about, let's see, how many videos is this? It is 132 photos. But I'm just going to edit a few of them. I'm going to scroll through and try to choose different ones that I like. And what I'm going to start off with is a couple of presets from Peter McKinnon's Lightroom preset pack. And in some of them, I'm just going to do my own edits. But I'm just going to do, you know, something smooth and chill. But let's go ahead and turn some music on so we can you know, get in the mood here. So right now, starting with the first photo, what I'm gonna do, I'm thinking one by one on this for Instagram, and I want to get that tip of that flame, so I'm gonna cut it off right here, right there. Yep. And I'm not gonna do any auto. I'm gonna see the difference in some of these presets. Dawn, that's dusk. We got elemental. That elemental looks really nice. Really nice. I'm liking that. Ember. Genesis. That Genesis actually looks pretty good. If you wanted to have black and white photo of here's his Lake Louise preset. His Moraine. North Ohio overload. Whew. There's a little bit of grain in that one. That looks good. Red October, man. Six side, it's pretty dark. Skyfall, Whiteout, Wolfswood. The stock look is that. Let's take out some of this blue. Bring some of that yellow up. I don't want to be too pink, so I'm bringing down the tint down a little bit. Bump the exposure up. 0.60. Bring a little contrast in. Bring down the highlights. Lift the shadows just a tad bit. Bring the whites down, all the way down. Should I do blacks? No, I might as well put a preset on if I'm gonna add the blacks. Lift the blacks just a tad bit. Now I thought about smoothing that texture out, -40. And I'm gonna bump that clarity up to +11. Do I want to dehaze? It's looking good. I mean, it looked good with the original photo, but let's see. Nope. Let's go +13 on dehaze. I'm gonna bump the vibrance up to 17 and bring the saturation down just a tad bit to -17. Let's see what it looked like before and after. What do you think, guys? Do you like the before better or the after? I'm kind of feeling that after. But that before still looks pretty good because of the blue flame. Let me see. think I'm gonna bring some blue back into it. I'm gonna bring it back down. There we go. Yep, I'm liking that. I am liking that. Alright, so let's go to the next picture. This is fairly dark, so I'm gonna try to bring up the exposure a little bit. Let's go to 1.5. Take some contrast out of it. Let's lift the nope, we don't lift the highlights too high. Let's leave the highlights right where they're at. Lift the shadows a little bit. Bring down the whites. Lift the blacks. Let's go a 1:1 aspect ratio first for Instagram. And this one, we're just gonna chop off all that darkness. So that's looking kind of bad. We bring the texture down a little bit. Kind of smooths it out. Up. Well, let's just bring down, say negative 24. Bring the clarity over to negative 19. Let's dehaze it a little bit to 14. Bring the vibrance up. Let's plus 40. Bring that saturation down. I bet you it looked better the other way. Let's go. What do you think? Actually, I like the original. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset. Let's reset. Start over. We're gonna do a 1:1 still. Let's see. Let's see what Wolfswood looks like. Ooh, it takes it out. I'm liking that white out. 6 side. Ooh, it just takes it all out. Way too red. I don't know if I'm not red October. Overload. It's a bit much. North, Rain, Louise, Black and White, Ember, Elemental. There's not a whole lot I can do with this one, but Elemental is not looking too bad. I'm really liking, what was it? That one. I'm liking the whiteout. What does it look like? Okay, what's Elemental at? Elemental pretty much brings a little bit of brightness in. You can see a little bit more detail. So I'm gonna go Elemental. Texture's at 0, so I'm gonna smooth out the texture a little bit. Or is it? Oh. Bring down the negative 22. I'll have to dehaze up a little bit. Just a little bit of vibrance. And here we have it. I'm liking that right there, but I kind of want to take some of that blue out. Just a little bit. Bring a little green. Okay. Bring some of that contrast down. Alright, I think that looks good to me. What do you guys think? Okay, let's go. Let's see what else. Let's try this one. I want to see what the presets look like. So far we know Dusk and Dawn are pretty dark. Dawn is only going to be really good on daylight pictures or midday pictures. Dusk kind of the same way, but it might work in certain situations. Elemental, that's a little bit overexposed for me. Louise, I don't know. Moraine, North. Ooh, man, that doesn't even look natural. Six Side, Skyfall, Whiteout, Wolfswood. Okay, so going for a 1:1 again. Bring that down. I kind of want to do a kind of faded. I think that's good. Build the exposure up just a little bit. Bring the highlights back. Just lift the shadows. Not too much. Let's just leave it. Let's leave it right there. Bring the whites down. Lift the blacks a little bit. Sharpness. Take the noise out a little bit. I'm gonna go with adding a little bit more blue back in there. Okay. There we go. Brings the contrast up here. Highlights a little slightly down. Lift the shadows. Golly, let's lift the shadows still. Let's bring the texture. Smooth it out. Dehaze it. Bring that vibrance up a little bit. So, what do you think? Huh? Just a tad bit, subtle changes. I like it. It's a little bit brighter, but not too bright. All right. What else do we want to work with? I want to work with something. Here we go. Let's try elemental on this one. That's a bit much. Ember, dusk. I'm actually liking dusk for this one. Let's another one photo. Right there. Couldn't have done it better. That actually looks pretty darn good. There's not a lot of blue in here. If I go over, I get a little bit more orange, so I'm gonna slide that slider. Leave it at 2700. Let's bring the vibrance up a tad bit. Maybe leave the vibrance at 0. Let's bring that saturation down to 35. And let's drop the shadows a little bit. And let's see what that looks like. Oh, yeah, that doesn't look too bad. We might want to stick with that one. Okay, so let's try another one. Here's a good one. I can go with a 16:9 ratio on this one. And kind of with that top flame. So let's see. That black and white actually looks pretty good. Let's see what dusk looks like. Dusk. Something about dusk I like, especially in the details. I can see that log. Like if yeah, bringing up the exposure a little bit with that dusk. Kind of giving it that matte look a little bit. Kind of looks nice. Let's see what Wolfswood looks like. A wide out Skyfall. Now one of the things you might want to look at is up here in the histogram. So you kind of want your exposure to be sitting in the middle. You know, pictures like this, it's not always going to work that way. So, but that's why I like the dusk. So let's see. I'm gonna bring a little bit more blue in. Crank up this tint a tad bit. exposure up. Turn up the contrast a tad bit. I know I'm kind of taking away a lot. Turn the highlights down. Shadows. Bring shadows back down just a tad bit. Smooth out those textures a little bit. Clarity, too much clarity. Let's take some of that clarity out. Let's bring back to 17. Dehaze, let's push the dehaze just a little bit. Looks good. Let's bring down the saturation. We don't need that much saturation. Let's bring it down to 38. Okay, so what'd you think? I actually like the original. The original looks really good. But I do like the new edited version. One of these I might just stick with the original. That new edited version looks awesome. To me anyways. To each his own. You might think it's not that great. Let's find a good one. Here we have a little smoke. Let's see if we got smoke on this one. We got some smoke on that one. We got it on this one. I think this one looks really good with the smoke. I'm gonna go with elemental on this one, and I'm gonna bring some of that blue back and bring it down. I'm bringing that exposure down as well. Bring shadows back down. I'm bringing. Yeah, I guess I'll lift the blacks a little bit. Bring the whites down. Bring that highlight. That clarity, too high for me. Let's bring it down to 20. Let's take that texture over a little bit. Smooth it out a bit. Turn that dehaze just a bit, and then a little bit of vibrance, a little bit of saturation. And these are night shots, so you know, pixel peeping. You can do that if you want. But these all were shot on the Canon 90D. Over here in the corner in the histogram, you can see at what aperture it was shot at. 1/50 seconds, 50mm lens, ISO was 6400. So the ISO was already pretty high on a lot of these, so you're going to get quite a bit of grain. So, and that's what we got on that one. That's actually like how that one came out pretty well. Let's see, I have 100 and something of these photos. Let's try to find one that's a little different. Okay. Too bright. Let's see if I have one with a lower ISO. It's probably early on I had a low ISO. Let's see. 6400 ISO still. This one. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, I'm going for a 1:1. And I'm totally going dusk on this one. Yes, I like that look. I'm gonna bring a little bit of that blue back in. Ooh, man, that kind of pales it a little bit. Take that blue out. I don't want it to be too pale. We'll just leave it right there. Lift it. Put some contrast in it. Highlights. Bring the highlights down a little bit. It's kind of bright. Not too far down. Bring the shadows in. The whites down. You want to look? No, we'll leave the blacks right there. Bring that texture over a little bit. Let's see what it looks like if we bring it over real harsh. It's not too bad. We're going to bring it down though. -13. Turn that clarity down to 20. Dehaze it up a little bit more. Bring that vibrance down. I mean that saturation. Let's leave it at 30 and bring the vibrance up a little bit. Okay, so let's see what we got. There we go. That is a solid picture. And we started off with Peter McKinnon's Elemental. I'll find another one here. I want something a little bit more drastic. Let's see. That's a good one. Let's see if we can punch in on this. ISO 6400. Let's go 16 by 9. Okay. Dawn. Ooh, it takes a lot out. Dusk. So the dusk just looks gangster sometimes on some of this. Wolfswood, Skyfall, Six Side. Okay, look, I'm gonna do my own edits for this one. I'm gonna take some of that blue out, just slightly. Bring up vibrance a little bit. Dehaze. Turn the clarity down. Turn the texture down. I want to lift the shadows. It's not looking too bad when I lift the shadows, honestly. If I lift the shadows, I'm getting that. If I bring the shadows down, it's a little darker. I'll just lift it. Bring the highlights down. Just bring the highlights down to -12. See what that looks like. It's very subtle, but it's different. But there's not really much I can do with that one because that's kind of a far away shot and it is dark. Let's see if I have any really random ones. This one. Nope. Not this. I like this one. Elemental. I'm gonna go black and white on this one. But I'm also gonna do a crop. We're gonna go 1-1 on this. Oh, wait. No, that was 1-1. We're gonna do like this. Here we go. Actually, you know what? I don't want to do black and white. I don't want to get crazy though. Oh, I had the ISO at 25,600. So I'm gonna bring that down, and I'm gonna get this for the top half of it. And slightly bring the exposure up for the top half. Contrast out, bring the highlights in a little bit. Lift the shadows. Turn the texture down. Clarity down, just so you can see the background. We'll dehaze it a little bit. Just sit there and bump up that brightness a little bit more. Dehaze just a little bit more. Clarity, texture. Turn that temperature. Done. I like that the way it is. You can see the pit, and then you can see the background just slightly. So it's not just completely dark. 25,600 ISO. That's a lot of ISO. What was I thinking? I think I was just playing around with it, testing different stuff. 6,400 ISO is about the max I really wanted to do. So that one was at 3,200. That's why that one came out a lot better. That's another 3200 ISO one. Was this a 30? That's a 64. That's when I just started bumping up to 64. Oh yeah, let's try something random. What about this one? Let's go a 1-1. The car. Elemental. Done. Bruh. This ain't even worth editing. It's just a picture of the radio. That overload though. Let's see if I can find some way to color correct. Expose a little bit. Dehaze. I can't get rid of dust. That's crazy. The clarity. I'm gonna just go crazy with this texture. Dehaze, clarity. Let's bring down the blacks. Let's lift the whites. Bring in the shadows. Lift the highlights. Bump up that contrast. Bring down the exposure. Now I'm just playing around. But yeah, I mean, kind of enjoying this. Dusk, Elemental, Ember. Oh man, I'm liking Ember on this one. I want to bring some of that blue back though. It's kind of making it go black and white as I turn the temperature down. That's kind of awesome. Or did something mess up here? Oh, nope, something did mess up there. Oh, that's interesting. Bring a little bit of green back in there. Bring that contrast down a little bit. I mean the exposure. And bring the contrast up. Bring the highlights back in for a minute. Look at it. Oh, I'm gonna cut it back down. Bring the shadows in. And bring the blacks down a little bit. Smooth out that texture. And turn that vibrance up just a tad bit, and that saturation. And then let's give it a 16:9 crop. I want to do it with the scenery here. So looks like kind of old school. Let's add a little medium grain. Ooh, goodness, sharp and refined. Nope, we're gonna stick to what we got. I like it. Wow, you can see that person's house really well. Kind of looks like this picture was taken back when I lived in these apartments when I was 7 years old. Same exact apartments. This is how the pictures would have looked, almost. All right, well, thanks for dropping back by. Thanks for listening to me and watching me edit a few photos on here. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.